Thank you, Devin. And we'll redo intros for the recording purposes as well. So welcome, everyone. My name is Ken Jackson, and I am the administrator of the Human Services Bus Ticket Program for the Department of Community and Human Services. I'm also on the Homeless Housing Program team with the Department of Community and Human Services. And today we are going to walk through the Human Services Bus Ticket Program RFP. But before we get started, I'll also let Devin again introduce himself for the recording.
Hi everyone, I'm Devin Koenig-Fries, and I am used to administer the Human Services Bus Ticket Program, so I'm here to support in today's presentation, and I also work on King County's Homeless Housing Programs team in the Department of Community and Human Services. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you again. And before we get into the agenda, just wanted to let folks know we will be keeping track of any questions in the chat, and we will be putting that into a FAQ document that is already in the Zoom grants application, which we will update weekly per questions and feedback that we get from you all. So thank you again for coming. And today, as we already done, welcome and introductions. And we will be going over the Human Services Bus Ticket Program, what the eligibility is for this program, and the agreements that you would come into once you are a selected agency with this program, what the application process looks like, and then ticketing details and closing. Next slide, please. Okay, so some background on this program here. It was established in 1993 by King County Council. King County Code is also written into King County Code 4A.700.210, and the annual funding for this program. The purpose is to help improve transportation access for persons experiencing homelessness and/or who are low income. The allocations are awarded to the Human Services agencies via request for proposal, which is what we're currently in today. We opened it up on November the 15th, last Tuesday. And what an agency would get from this program is the ability to purchase King County bus tickets at the 10% from the face value, and that's in 2023 for this coming year. And this program, the amount was established in 2018 and has not changed since. That full amount, grant amount for this program is $4,044,404, or sorry, excuse me, $444,440. Sorry about that. And again, this allocation has not changed since 2018. In 2019, we awarded 169 agencies. In 2020, we awarded 200 plus agencies. And 2021's program, we had 161 agencies we partnered with. And this last year's round, we worked with 144 agencies. Next slide, please. So there's two sides to this program. There's a King County Metro side, and then there is our side, the Department of Community and Human Services, which has two different functions for the program, or who manages two different functions for the program. King County Metro manages the sales and tracking of the allocations. They process the purchasing for the Human Services tickets. They also handle any ticketing issues / questions and any fare changes, which there was this last round. And they also handle any Orca Lift questions as well. If you have any questions in regards to those bullet points there's the email listed here. And these slides are also listed and uploaded in the application in the library section. But the Human Services ticket email there is there for Metro. And then on our side, the Department of Community and Human Services, we administer the RFP process, which we're currently in. We monitor the program concerns and complaints. We monitor usage logs, and we conduct, at least this last year, it was virtual monitoring visits. and we run the reallocation process. And our email is listed on the bottom there if you have any questions in regards to those above points. And if any questions in general about the program, please feel free to reach out to us. Next slide, please. This is just a link for you all to have that leads to the Human Services Bus Ticket Program website. So the eligibility for this program, one, you must be a nonprofit / a 501c3 agency, a housing authority, local government, or federally recognized tribe. You must serve persons who are experiencing homelessness and are low income. You must be able to disperse the tickets to eligible individuals for services critical to personal and residential stability. You must be able to purchase the tickets by this year's deadline to purchase for next year's allocation is September 15th, 2023, and disperse those tickets to eligible persons prior to December 31st, 2023. If you're a part of this last year's round, 2022, you must have turned in completed usage logs through the month of January to June, and those would have been uploaded in Zoom grants. Next slide, please. So agreements that you would come into if your agency is selected from this program. Number one, you would have to understand and apply the policies and procedures for this program. Those policies and procedures are within the application. You can take a look at those on Zoom grants. You would enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Community and Human Services, and you would return your signature list authorized agency reps to Metro. And then some things that you would need to adhere to from this program are to disperse to the intended recipients only. So no staff from your organization, volunteers and or interns would be recipients of the Human Services Bus Ticket Program tickets. Just the folks who are receiving those tickets who are eligible, folks who are either low income and or experiencing homelessness. You must safeguard the tickets and or proper storage for the tickets. And you would track your client program level distribution, submit semi-annual usage logs 2 times per year. And you would need to report any lost or stolen tickets within 3 days of discovery. And as we discussed on the prior slide, the purchasing deadline for this coming year is September 15th, 2023. So your entire allotment that you get from this round, if your agency is selected, you would have to have purchased all those, that complete allotment by September 15th, 2023. And last point there is do not resell the tickets. So we can break here for questions. I'm going to see if there's anything in the chat. And go ahead. I'm sorry, was that Devin?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna jump in. It looks like we do have one question in the chat. So Sasha's asking, do tickets purchased through the 2022 program expire December 31st, 2022? And so, yep, the Metro, actually, so the tickets that you awarded in 2022 need to be used within 2022. But if you have the light rail tickets, so yeah, I see another question about light rail coming in. Are these tickets usable on the light rail as well? So yeah, the light rail tickets, if you have them from the 2022 award, those expire on December 31st. The Metro tickets that you have from your 2022 award do not expire. And so if you do have any left over at the end of the year, you can continue to distribute those into next year, and they will still work. Just yeah, the light rail tickets are the ones that do expire. And then looks like there's another question about are these tickets usable on light rail as well? And I think I'll hold that one because we've got a good slide that goes over the different types of tickets you can buy, which do include Metro tickets and also light rail tickets and combo books. So there's a few different options, but light rail is one of them. So
Yeah, absolutely. The way that this session is laid out is we have three separate sections. Number one, like the background of the program, and after that, an eligibility and agreements that you would come into, and then we have the question section. Next section we'll be going over is the application process, and then we'll have another questions section. And then after that, Devin will, like he just said, get into the details of the ticketing process and what that looks like. Especially the difference between the types of tickets for this year. So we can go to the next slide here. Okay, so the RFP process, here is our schedule here, our key dates. We announced the we opened up the procurement this last Tuesday on November 15th via Zoom grants. And if any of you need that announcement, again, we can send that out to you all. And so the first information session we had was last Thursday. This is our second information session. And both of these will be posted on the Zoom grants website where you all are applying. If you have any questions, you can refer back. Also, the FAQ will be posted and updated weekly in the application on Zoom grants. The technical assistance deadline is November 29th of this year. And we closed the RFP on December 15th this year. So we're just open a month for the procurement process. And we will be reviewing the applications in December, and we will be sending out notices of award in January. And agencies will also be signing the MOA, the memorandum of agreement, in January as well. And at that time, once it's signed and received by us in Metro, you all will be able to, and you all receive your notices of award, you all will be able to purchase as soon as possible. Next slide. So just a few links here. We have the Zoom grants application link, and then we have a link to the Department of Community and Human Services general RFP. Within that link, there is guidelines to use Zoom grants, and I'm trying to pull up the link for you all so I can show you where those guidelines are. Just give me just a second here. And I want to see if I can take control, Devin.
Yeah, let me stop sharing.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, there we go.
And give me just a second here. Share. All right, I think I'm on the right screen here. I'll be looking away from the camera because I'm on a different screen. And here's the Zoom grants guide for you all. Can you all see my screen?
Cannot, nope.
Can you
Oh,
see my
yeah.
screen? I'm sorry.
I think it's just loading now. There we go.
Okay, let me
Folks,
go back. Let me go back a screen if I can get rid of this. Okay, so this is the landing page from the link that I just clicked on, and where you would find the Zoom grants guide. This is just a general guide, not specific to this application, just a general guide of how to set up and use Zoom grants. You would download that here, and it would take you to this landing page, and you all can walk through the guide of how to set up your Zoom grants account. Especially there's a difference between if you already have a Zoom grants account and you've applied for King County funding opportunities before versus if you were creating a brand new account. This guide gives you an easy step-by-step process of how to set up you all's account. And then I'm also going to show you all I can switch screens again. Okay, so after we visit that link, here's also the Zoom grants link, which should take you to this landing page here. I've tested this account quite a few times, so it has apply again for my view, but for you all's view, you would have just apply, not apply again. You want to make sure again. And again, am I on the right screen? It's kind of hard presenting and looking. Am I on the right screen again, where we're looking at the landing page?
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the landing page that you all should follow on. Again, my views are different because I've tested this account a few times and it has apply again. But you all's view would just have apply here, and that's how you would begin the application. But let me actually switch back to the slides here. Because we'll go back to the application because I want to show you all what it looks like and how you would walk through completing the application. So yeah, first off, Zoom Grants is an online tool for that this department uses for requests for proposals or any funding opportunities. And this is how we have our folks fill out the application so we can monitor it via online and try to make that as accessible as possible. So if you all have any questions at any time, feel free to reach out to us if you're having any difficulties with the process. Each Zoom Grants application is officially associated with a single account. Each account is owned by a single user with a single email address. The owner can grant other users access to the application. And there's a tip here. We recommend that there only be one primary account for the King County RFP process using Zoom Grants. I highly encourage you to use a universal account, AKA like just a general email account, one not specific to one person, but one that everyone who may need access to the application has access to. And there's been one application change, or sorry, one application question change. And I want to give some rationale behind that. This year, well, within the last year, the Department of Community and Human Services, we offer grant application and capacity building consulting, and it prioritizes requests from small agencies, defined as an agency who has a budget smaller than $4 million a year and has no more than 20 full-time staff. So these questions are below here help us get a grasp of the agencies who are applying, and of those agencies, which ones might need assistance, and specifically for that program, the eligibility criteria of that. So we added 2 questions here. Number 25 is, what is the total staff in your organization? And number 26 is, what is your agency's total budget in the last year? So next slide here is, so post-award and Zoom Grants, you can anticipate processes and procedures will happen in Zoom Grants. For example, you will be signing the memorandum of agreement within Zoom Grants. You will be submitting, once you all started dispersing the tickets, you'll be submitting semi-annual usage logs twice a year. So those will literally be broke up in 6 months intervals of when you will be submitting those usage logs. You will report any lost or stolen tickets and any additional allocation requests. We send announcements from the pool of folks who were selected in Zoom Grants. So you'll just receive emails from Zoom Grants in regards to announcements for the program once you all are selected. And so to prepare, just ensure that everyone has access who may need access to go in and fill out the application. Sometimes it's not just one person filling out the application. Sometimes it's multiple people who may need access so they can get all the information that we need. And then make sure your Zoom Grants messages are not going to spam once you do start that application, because even once you start the application, we may be sending messages via the Zoom Grants. So I just want to give a demo. Again, I'm going to switch screens back over to the application. I want to give a demo of what it would look like to, once you get on the landing page there, and from the landing page, where do you go, within Zoom Grants to complete this application? I'm sure most of you all are familiar with and have already done all this, but I just want to give a chance for folks who may not have seen it and are curious about that process, what it would look like. So not going to dive too deep in it, but I definitely do want to show you all what the application process looks like. So let me switch screens here.
And Ken, it looks like we had a question in the chat I just wanted to get to. Can you repeat the part about the agency budget? I think this might have been about the GACB.
Yeah, so this is that is specifically in regard. Let me make sure I'm not switching screens real fast. So let me go back to the slide. So we added these questions. We want to be in alignment with our department, the Department of Community and Human Services. So any funding opportunity coming out of this department, we want to be tracking agencies who may need extra support. For us, we call that our grant application and capacity building consulting group. So agencies eligible for technical assistance, basically, in filling out the application. There's a criteria. That criteria is the agency who's applying, their budget is $4 million or less in the prior year, and they also need to have no more than 20 staff in their organization as well. And that's the definition for this program specifically, the grant application and the capacity building. That definition is considered a small agency. Not saying that you all's agency is small, it's just that's the definition specifically for the grant application and capacity building program within the Department of Community and Human Services. Hope that answers the question. I also can't see the chat if it did not.
I don't see any other okay. Questions.
Oh, it doesn't answer your question. Okay. Could you is it okay if I run through the application and then, because we will have a question section after this, is it okay if I run through the application first just to show you all what it looks like and we can answer your question more directly? Perfect. I see you type yes there, so I'm going to proceed here and we'll definitely get back. Just want to make sure I'm on the correct screen here and it didn't sign me out. Can you all see the application page here?
Yep, we can see.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so again, my view looks a little different, and let me see if I can zoom in for you all because I have a big screen on my other screen. Okay, so for you all, your view would just say apply, not apply again. Again, this is a test account and I've used it a few times here. So we're going to click on apply. And the first section here is just giving a description of the program, basically the program guidelines. So general information here, description. The next section goes over program eligibility. And then after eligibility, it goes over the requirements of the program. Again, we will not be reading each of these sections. Just want to show you all what it looks like for your experience and let you know what the application process is. After that, we go into post our initial Zoom grants meeting. This is the information here. Post that meeting, it goes into the key dates for the program. Just so you have those. After that, here's the library here for all of the documents. Again, this FAQ document will be updated weekly. We have a sample application, the program guidelines, and the slides here that we're looking at today for the application workshop. On the first, and as you move down, basically this is just a description of the program here, this top section. the requirements and all that good information to let you know what the program is about, what the allocation, what the total allocation is, and where you all would fit as you do apply. Once you get there, you can get more specific into your agency's request. How much of an allotment you all would be seeking to serve the people that you feel like would benefit from this Human Services Bus Ticket Program from your agency. So as some agency information. And this is a section where you can add collaborators. So if multiple folks need access, you can add those folks there. And from the first section, after general information, we move into the questions section. The first question is actually right here solo by itself, and then I'll move on to the additional tab where the rest of those sections are. But just want to make sure that you all, this is a King County program. Each one of you all's organization need to be in King County and serving folks in King County. So all the zip codes here, whichever one is applicable for your program would be in this section here. And I'm just going to move via the tabs. After that, we'll go into the questions. And let me zoom out a little. Again, I'm not going to read each one of the questions. I just want to show you all what it looks like. So these are the two tabs that you all would be completing here. Until you are selected and fully in the program, you wouldn't be submitting any semi-annual usage logs. And here's where you would find the policies and procedures. So let's say we are ready to submit. We think we filled everything out and we're going to press submit now. And the application is just going to let you know, hey, by the way, all these questions here are required to complete before you submit. Those are all the things in red here. So just wanted to show you all what the application looks like. Not going to go through and fill it out right now, just due to time constraints here. And I'm going to move back to the slides. Okay, are we back? Just want to make sure we're back to the slides on you all's view.
Yep, we can see them.
Perfect. Okay, so next slide here is links for technical assistance. So if you need any technical assistance within Zoom grants, here is the information to contact them. You can email them, you can call them, or you can submit a ticket. All these links are good and accurate. We have checked those. And anything content related to this application process, you can reach out to us at the Human Services Bus Ticket Program. Technical assistance deadline again for the application is November 29th. And for the grant program that is tracking agencies who are applying for any grant opportunity within the Department of Community and Human Services, but specifically this grant opportunity here, you are eligible if you meet those two guidelines of having an annual budget of $4 million or less a year, and you have no more than 20 staff on within your organization as a whole. You would qualify as an agency who's, by that definition, a small agency, and you could receive any additional technical assistance from this specific program. That's the link to them to get that process started. Another tip here is just to start now on the application to give yourself time. Again, this is not a procurement that is open for entirely too long. It is just open for a month here. But please start now as soon as possible to give yourself time to take care of any last minute issues. Okay, questions. I want to go back. And at least the name on here says Tish.
So I'm just confused about the questions about the budget and the number of staff. That's new.
Yeah, so that actually has like nothing to do with your eligibility for this program at all. That
Okay.
is just, yeah, that is specifically if you need additional technical assistance outside of what we would be able to provide or Zoom grants would be able to provide. If you need additional technical assistance, we do have a program for that within our department, but you have to meet those two criteria. You have to have, for your entire organization, not just this program, your entire organization has to have an annual budget of $4 million or less per year. And then you would have to have no more than 20 staff in your agency.
Okay.
But yes, completely separate from you and your organization being eligible for this program. That is just something as a department that we are tracking here in the Department of Community and Human Services.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so the small agency priority rule is for consulting. Yeah. Again, I think I just answered the next question there. This is that the small agency rule is for completely separate of you being eligible for this program. It is specifically for if you're needing any additional technical assistance. That's the bucket that that program falls under. So if you're reading that correctly, no, so I believe you do have to meet both criteria in order to be eligible for that grant assistance and capacity building program. Both annual budget of less than $4 million or less per year, and 20, no more than 20 staff within your agency to be eligible. If you don't meet both, my understanding, unless Devin, you have a different understanding, my understanding is that you have to meet both in order to be eligible for that team.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there might be resources if your agency is larger or has a budget over 4 million. There may be some other resources. And so if your agency doesn't meet those criteria, definitely feel free to reach out to us. And if you're looking for any kind of supports or technical assistance, we'll see what we can do to help there. So.
Then we have a question about the number of tickets, or a question about a number of tickets kind of being firm that you're giving out. We encourage you to do what makes sense for your agency in terms of how you all are dispersing the tickets. Just if you are doing it within some type of regular frequency, we would like you to notate that. But if it is based on need, just whether if it's based on need and that's how you are dispersing the tickets, or you're giving a firm amount, if you could just notate that when you are selected, and then you critique your own policies and procedures based off of the template there that we give you. Because again, that is just a template, but you all will be able to make it specific to your agency and be able to critique it that way. Okay, just want to make sure we're getting through the questions. Are there any recommendations on what web browser? Devin, do you have a sense of what web browsers might work the best with Zoom grants?
I know that Zoom grants can be, Zoom grants can be a funny system. And so I generally use Microsoft Edge. That's what our county computers have as like our landing page, and it generally works pretty well. I think Google Chrome works fine too, but I know that in general, regardless of browser, Zoom grants can run a little slow. Sometimes it has some little hiccups. There are just some things about it that can be a little tricky to navigate. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's a browser that is necessarily better than another, but I will say if you're finding that you have an issue that's not going away or that's happening over and over again, do reach out to that Zoom Grants support line, and they are very responsive and helpful. So
No, I second that. They've been very responsive and very helpful so far in this program for sure. So that is it for the first couple sections. Devin, would you like to take over the slides, or I can share? We can do it however, whatever makes sense.
sure, if you want to keep the slides up, we can walk
Perfect.
through the next section, and then again after this, we will have more time for questions. But feel free to drop those in the chat while I'm talking, and we'll make sure we get to all of them at the end. We've still got plenty of time. So the last section we want to talk with you all about is ticketing details. And I will just preface this by saying that we have some great folks at King County Metro who are really the experts on ticket sales and understand the system and the process better than I do. And so I am going to walk you through, I'm going to walk you through the basics today. We'll be happy to take any questions and answer any that we can. If there are questions that we can't answer, we can take those to Metro and definitely get you answers. And also we will give you a contact, and I think we already have, for the ticket sales office, so that you can reach out at any time with your questions. And so with that, yeah, let's get started. So before Metro will accept your ticket order, there are two things that you'll need to complete and return. And so we'll just do a little knowledge test here. I won't call on anyone, don't worry. I'll just tell you what they are. But those will be, if you want to go to the next slide, the memorandum of agreement. And so this is something that you complete and submit to DCHS in Zoom Grants. It's actually a form that's in Zoom Grants that you read through and you sign in Zoom Grants. You do need to make sure that, yeah, you complete that in Zoom Grants and do the signature line in Zoom Grants. You can also print it and sign it for your records if you'd like. That's not necessary, but just as long as you have it done in Zoom Grants, that goes to Metro and lets them know that you've done your MOA. And then the second piece of documentation is the authorized signature list. And this is something that you'll need to submit to Metro in person or by mail. And so they need an original copy with a wet ink signature. And what the authorized signature list does is it tells Metro who from your agency is authorized to order tickets and pick them up on behalf of your agency. And this is something that you can change over time. So if somebody joins your agency, leaves, you want to add someone, perfectly fine. Just make sure that you update that list and get it to Metro. All right. So ticket orders, purchase, and pickup. Let's talk about some of the options that you have for ordering and picking those up. So you can visit Metro office during their regular business hours at your convenience, and you can pay for and pick up tickets on the same day. Just want to call out that if you choose that option, anticipate a wait. It's not too bad, but depending on the time of day, it might be a little while before they can actually process your order and get you the tickets. You can also mail your ticket order form and payment to Metro, and they'll process the order and then give you a call when it's ready for pickup. And then in that case, you still go down to the Metro office to pick those up. And then lastly, you can drop off your ticket order form and payment in person, and then you can go back home or to your agency office. And then Metro can give you a call when it's ready for pickup, and you can go back to the Metro office to pick them up. And so we will have details in your award packet. If you receive an award, we'll have details in there and a whole guide on purchasing, and also you'll have access to the folks at Metro who can help walk you through any piece of this. But just wanted to do a quick overview of that. Next slide. All right, a couple other ticketing details we just wanted to talk about. One exciting change to this year, and also one reminder. So you can purchase by credit card. You can also purchase by check if you want to. We just ask that if you're going to do a credit card purchase, please don't send your credit card information over email. We want to protect your agency and help you avoid any fraud, anything going wrong. And so we don't have a secure system to accept credit card numbers or information, and neither does Metro. So you'll need to call in over the phone, or you can also fill in your credit card information on the ticket order form that we'll show you in a minute. And you can also just go down and pay with your credit card in person. But the other update we wanted to share that we're excited about is that youth now ride transit for free. So this might be old news for some of you, but starting September 1st, 2022, riders 18 and younger can now take transit for free thanks to Move Ahead Washington. And so we, want to let you know about this great resource and make sure that you're aware if you're serving folks 18 and younger. If you do have youth tickets left over from your 2022 award, you can contact Metro about options to return those. And we also just want to make sure that as you're applying this year that you're taking that into account, especially if you have purchased youth tickets in the past or are an agency that serves primarily youth. Want to make sure that you're aware of that and planning accordingly. This is the ticket book order form that we were talking about. It just asks for your basic information at the top, and then it lists the different Metro transit fares, and you can see youth are free. There are adult fare tickets, and then also the seniors and disabled persons are RRFP tickets that are available. And then it'll ask for your method of payment again. Here, you can put your credit card information on this form. You can call in, you can bring it in person, just don't email. And you can also pay by check or money order payable to King County Metro. And then there are a few different kinds of book types that I'll go into in more detail on the next few slides. But you will want to indicate which book types you're selecting and how many of those ticket books you are purchasing. And one last reminder, I know you're probably sick of me saying this, but please don't submit your credit card information over email. It could lead to fraud. It could put your agency at risk, and we really don't want that to happen. So if you're having trouble figuring out how to pay by credit card, you can also just email us and say help. We'll make sure we get you in touch with the right person. So let's talk about the Metro only ticket book sales. So as I mentioned, and I think it came up in the questions too, you can purchase Metro tickets and Link Light Rail tickets. And so first we're just going to talk about the ticket books that are only Metro, and understanding the price that your agency will pay versus the allocation debit on your award. And so we'll go through a few scenarios. In this scenario, agency A is awarded an allocation from King County of $55, and agency A would like to purchase 10 adult books. So how much allocation will agency A have left after purchase? Next slide. They will have 0 left of their allocation. So the adult books are $5.50 each. If they purchase 10, that's a $55 debit against the allocation, and that's the full allocation for the year. So let's look at another one that's a little different. So this is a combination Metro and Sound Transit Link ticket book. So agency B here is awarded an allocation of $100, and agency B would like to purchase 10 combo books. How much will they have left after purchase? So agency B is going to pay $6.50 for each combo book. They're purchasing 10, so they're going to pay $65 total. That's what comes out of pocket from the agency. But then the allocation will be debited $8 times the 10 combo books is $80. So that'll leave $20 left of the allocation. So the actual amount paid will be $65, but the debit against the award allocation that you receive is $80 in this case. So I'm sure we'll have questions about this, and we can definitely help get answers. The last one we want to talk about is the Sound Transit Link all day only ticket. So this is if you just want to buy Link Light Rail tickets. Agency C is awarded an allocation of $100 and they'd like to purchase 10 Sound Transit Link books. So how much allocation will they have left? This one is a little bit of a trick question. This actually, in this case, the agency will pay $650 for each Sound Transit Link book. And so if they're buying 10 books, they'd pay $65, but there will be no debit against the allocation award for the Sound Transit Link only ticket books. So you do still pay $650 for each book, but no debit against your award. So a few different options. You can get Metro tickets, you can get Metro and Sound Transit tickets, and you can get the Sound Transit Link tickets by themselves. Let's go on to the next slide. That covers all of the scenarios that we wanted to walk through. And again, after you get your award in your welcome packet for the program, we'll have a lot of details about ticket purchasing, and Metro is great at fielding and answering questions about ticket purchasing. And we'll make sure that we can get you set up with the right option and get you what you need for the folks you're serving. So,
oops, sorry.
Does anybody have any questions around ticketing, or could be questions about the program in general? Just gonna pull up the chat and see. Okay, there we go. Let's see. So it looks like there's a question from AJ. Do those get done for every RFP, or if we have done it in the past, does it stay on file? So I think, AJ, are you asking about the MOA and the signature sheet?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that one has to be done for every RFP. Even if
Okay.
it's the same people on the signature sheet and the MOA, you'll see the MOA is pretty much identical to last year with some date changes, but yeah, you will need to do that again. Thanks for asking. And then Tish had a good question. Can we call and place the order? Yeah, you can definitely call in and place your order, and then go and pick it up down at Metro whenever it's ready. Oh, looks like we got that answered. Are the Link combo tickets no longer have Metro tickets attached? So the Link combo tickets, you can still get a combo of Metro and Link tickets together, and purchase those in a combo booklet. And you can also just get the Metro tickets by themselves or the Link tickets by themselves. So you have all the options there. And then Tiffany has a question. Why do we have to apply every year if we are already in the system? So that's a good question. I think, yeah, it's kind of going back to the beginning of the presentation. Ken mentioned that this is written into King County code, and part of that is that this program runs on calendar years. So it's really how the program is set up, and the fact that the funds that we have available to award out to everybody are available on an annual basis in the calendar year. And so the funds, because we're government, we have to run a competitive process that's fair and open to award funding. And because the funds become available on an annual basis, we have to do this RFP annually, just as, yeah, we have to do with all funding that we have. So we appreciate you going through the application process, and hopefully you'll notice that it's pretty similar to past years and should be shouldn't take too much time, especially if you've done it before.
Yeah, I'll second that. Like, unlike some of our other funding opportunities for like our base level of work with like housing contracts, this is not an allocation that we're going to have years on years, within the same agreement. It's a smaller agreement that we come to, and unfortunately for the application part of it, at least, yes, you will have to enter into a new agreement every single year with us. But hopefully that's a good partnership for you all, and you all are, and the people that you're serving are really benefiting from this program. That's what we're here for. So if there's any questions, any time along the way, please feel free to reach out. I see Sasha has another question, application question. Yes, Sasha, go ahead.
Thank you so much. My question is based on the account access via Zoom grants. So, and this is something that I specifically had to deal with last year. So I work for a nonprofit housing organization called Community Roots Housing. And in our resident services department, which is how we primarily distribute these tickets to the residents within our portfolio.
Yeah.
And because we have just high turnover in general in our organization, one of my colleagues who was the original primary account holder for the Zoom grants had quit and got another job. And I experienced a lot of struggle and difficulty gaining access to the Zoom grants account because I wasn't the primary account holder for the account. And so it created a huge challenge and a barrier for me to complete the application process and just understand too, because I wasn't the initial person who, because obviously the previous staff member who worked with me was the one who was primarily managing the account. And so I was just wondering if that option existed for more than one staff person or just more than one person in general to have similar access and permissions with Zoom grants, because that created a huge time challenge with us being able to process that. And I had to get my director involved and all of this just because I was trying to navigate it, and it didn't seem like there was an easy quick fix around solving that problem. And so I'm just wondering if that's something that is not going to be an issue for me and my colleagues going forward, because I would like to have more than one person on the account so that way it won't be a processing issue for us on our end.
That's an excellent question. I feel like, Devin, do you have recent experience in regards to that question? I have an answer, but I want
Yeah, I think I think I do, and I know that the account contact in Zoom grants can be a little tricky to navigate, and it really, it can depend on who's still at the organization and then what they've passed on to you. And how they've set up the account. And so without looking at your account, I don't want to give any blanket answers or anything, but I will say that in general, if you reach out to Zoom grants and you need to update the main contact for your application, Zoom grants can do that, but they will ask for a written approval by email from the executive director of your agency. And unfortunately, that's a Zoom grants policy that we don't have much room to work around. So with that, I know that we have some tips that we always give to try to help avoid that situation. If there's some sort of general email address like info@services@, then you can use that and have the password. And if you leave the agency, you can pass that account on to the next person. You can also add as many collaborators as you want to your application, and you can give them varying levels of permission. So you could add somebody who has all the permissions to do reporting and updates to the application, sign forms, that kind of thing, so that multiple people in the agency can help administer the application. The one thing there is that the collaborators are different from that main application contact. And so if you're the main application contact and you leave, you'd have to make sure that you're passing that on to someone else. And if you do that before you leave your agency, it's definitely an easier process than waiting until afterwards. So I know there's probably more questions there. Hopefully some of that is helpful though.
Yeah, thank you. And also, I will say that hopefully you're not running into that this year, because it's, every time you apply, it's like a brand new application. So even though you all may have had a prior allocation with us, this is a whole new process. So as long as you all are going to have the same team working on this program here, especially throughout this application process and the selection process, don't think you will run into that issue. But if you do, just like Devin said, reach out to Zoom grants, because they're the ones who are going to have to, give the access to the application. It's more so for safety issues and making sure, that the right people are actually accessing this, and not just anybody can come in and tamper with the application, and or once you all do get the allotment, that nothing's tampered with. But I did definitely hear and understand that frustration there. But hopefully, if you haven't started already, but if you have, hopefully you haven't had any issues, but if you do, please feel free to reach out. Again, we have until the 29th of this month to seek out technical assistance. So I'll be continuing to monitor that email if there are any requests, but if there are any requests specific to Zoom grants and or specific to our grant assistance and capacity building consulting team as well, please feel free to reach out. Again, that deadline for technical assistance is the 29th. And one last question I see here in the chat. So if the Sound Transit link tickets don't count against the award, do the combo Metro tickets debit our award? Yes. So the combo tickets, since they have a King County link with Metro, they are the Metro combo tickets. Anything associated with Metro, it's going to be debited from your allotment. But if it's just specifically the Sound Transit link tickets specifically, then no, there won't be a debit. So but unfortunately enough, you still get that discount. You won't be purchasing those at full price. So that's great. But yes, anything that has that Metro associated with it on the ticket type, that will be debited against your award. It's just tricky. So always refer back to the program guidelines and these slides if you ever need to figure out, okay, how is a certain type of ticket debited or not. You can refer back here and or always reach out to us or to myself, really, if you have any questions. Yeah, thank you, Sasha. Thank you, everyone who's had questions. Want to give space for anybody else if there are any other questions out there lingering. Absolutely, you all are welcome. And yeah, again, so after the 29th, we will not be responding to technical assistance specifically requests for this application. So please just keep that date in mind. If something does pop up, please have that in the back of your mind that is the deadline to receive technical assistance for this application process. There was a requirement to have the client initial the sheet we mail the bus tickets. Bill, could you clarify that question for me? I'm sorry, I'm not exactly sure I understand it. So on the,
Sure.
you're talking about on the usage log sheets?
Yes. Yes. So when we're giving them out, we used to have everybody come in person and we'd hand out the tickets and
Right.
get
Yeah.
the initial right there. We haven't, we just started back doing some in person. We still have people who are reluctant to come in to get the tickets or do interviews in person. So the bulk of it is still by mail. And so we are not we're not having the client initial that because they're not there.
Yeah, so in those instances, correct me if I'm wrong, Devin, you all or whoever is dispersing the tickets, your staff can sign for the folks that they are actually distributing the tickets to, but please correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Devin.
Oh yeah, we still understand COVID is affecting people, and we made that waiver, and that is still in effect. So if that's something you need to do, then please do so. And yeah, I think if you want to mention something about it in your policies and procedures, that's always helpful for us to know, and just to document that that's how you're doing it for this award year too. So
Great.
thanks.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone is fully figured out what does coming back and having foot traffic, you know, in the places where you're serving folks looks like. I think we're still kind of navigating a very interesting place with moving through this pandemic. But if there are any changes, especially something that's going to impact something that we need to track for the program, please do, just like Devin said, call it out, and how you all are critiquing your policies and procedures for this program. Well, I want to be respectful of you all's time. I don't want to hold you up anymore today if there are no more questions, which I'm looking at the chat here. Okay, so I think at least for today, we are good. And I really appreciate you all taking the time to come hear about this program, and hopefully we've answered your questions. If not, please feel free to reach out. Again, the technical assistance deadline is the 29th of this month. And we will be closing the application process on December the 15th. So if anything comes up in between that time, please feel free to reach out. But as far as today, we will end the session. Thank you all.
Thank you all so much. Take care.